चुके हैं, उन तमाम कंपनियों के अधिकारियों से, लोगों से उनको वो वहाँ संबोधित करेंगे और इस बात की भी जानकारी हमें हासिल हो पाएगी कि कौन कौन सी कंपनियां स्टार्टअप इंडिया के लिए आगे आती हैं।
Good afternoon to all of you once again. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister of India is visiting Silicon Valley after 40 years, and Silicon Valley, which is the hub of innovation. So it's a very proud moment for many people in the valley, and some of us who have traveled all wanted to set the stage with just three brief thoughts, sir. The first one is India is emerging to be a land of opportunities more and more. Let me share with you two data points. It took us 10 years to create the first 100 million internet users. It took us 3 years thereafter to create the second 100 million users. But for the third 100 million internet users, it took us less than 12 months. That's the pace at which India is progressing. It's a pace of exponential growth at this point of time. The second point I'd like to make is, if you look at the unicorns, or the companies which have a market capitalization of $1 billion, largely led by private equity investors, well, there are about 136 of them in the world. 7 of them are from India, and 3 of them are in the audience today. So this gives you a reflection of how the economy is doing today, how the opportunities are shaping up for every one of you here. So therefore, I like to say that it's a great place to be in at this point of time to exploit those opportunities. The second point I like to make is India is a place which is now open and connected. You look at the Indian connection that we have, we're deeply connected into the Silicon Valley to the diaspora. While Indians make about 6% of the Indian diaspora, but 15% India for encouraging international participation in India. So it's the open, connected world which makes India distinctly different. The third point I like to make is, sir, after your government came into power about a year and 4 months back, I think we have seen a welcome change in India. There have been consistent policies that we have seen, very progressive policies all the time, which are encouraging different sets of companies, whether it is large or small. And I like to acknowledge the new coinage the Honorable Prime Minister brought about in the last few days called personal corporations. There is public sector, there is private sector, and there is personal sector, which just gives you an indication of how much amount of focus he has on the new companies coming up or the startups that are coming into existence. While it is true that there are some challenges still there in terms of the cross-border investments, there are challenges in terms of some of the bankruptcy laws, venture capital, skilling India, and so on and so forth. But on behalf of NASSCOM, I'd like to assure the Honorable Prime Minister that we are working very closely with the government in making a number of recommendations and making sure that we will resolve them very soon. So this is an assurance from NASSCOM to the Honorable Prime Minister. And lastly, we certainly want to assure the Prime Minister that we live up to his very inspiring slogan of Startup India, Stand Up India. I now would request Mr. Venkatesh Shukla to introduce our next speaker. Venkatesh.
On behalf of TiE Silicon Valley, welcome to you all to this one-of-a-kind event, a historic event where Prime Minister of India is here with us. And it's my honor and privilege to introduce an icon of Silicon Valley. Reid Hoffman is co-founder and executive chairman at LinkedIn. His partner at one of the bluest of blue chips venture funds, Greylock Partners. He is an accomplished entrepreneur, executive, and investor, and he has played an integral role in building some of the biggest consumer internet companies, not just LinkedIn. He has also been involved, you see, as a venture and as an angel investor in the biggest names that you can think of, like Facebook, Airbnb, Flickr, Mozilla, and Zynga. He serves on a number of non-profit boards, including Kiva, founded by Premal Shah, Endeavor, and Do Something. He is co-author of 2 books, the New York Times bestsellers, both of them, The Startup of You and Alliance. He is an Aspen Institute Crown Fellow, a Marshall Scholar at Stanford, and a graduate of Stanford University. It's truly my honor to request Reed to come and share his perspective on startups, innovation, and whatever else he wants to share with us. Thank you, sir.
It's an honor to be here today. Indian entrepreneurs and Thai have played a foundational role in Silicon Valley. And entrepreneurship is key for how you develop new technologies and how you deploy them in ways that they help elevate humanity. Some of these statistics have already been mentioned, but even with a tiny percentage of Indian entrepreneurs coming here from India, they're responsible for nearly 15% of the startups that get created, that have been created in Silicon Valley. Actually, 6.5% of all startups in the US and 8% of all technology startups in the US, with less than 1% of the population. It's pretty amazing. I think it's one of the reasons why Silicon Valley enables such amazing growth to scale-ups, because this pool of knowledge and talent that is collected here from India and other places in the world have created a partially global culture, a sense of not only are we trying to just build something interesting here, but build something interesting for the world. And it's one of the things that I think kind of informed the ideas that when we were thinking about this at LinkedIn, is that there's an economic graph, which is you take people and companies and skills and knowledge and jobs in universities, you represent them all digitally, and then you essentially help make connections between them, help matching, help discovery, and that's what essentially grows an economy, whether for an individual or a company or a country. And this is, so naturally, the things that the Honorable Prime Minister is doing in terms of Digital India is a very, natural sense of great leadership into the future. Because when you represent these things digitally, allow people to participate in them, that essentially raises economic outcomes. And there have been a lot of good, rigorous studies that have shown that as you increase telephony, so for example, every 10 basis points or so, that you increase telephonic connection, connectivity between the people, you increase GDP by 50 basis points or more. And that this increases the purchasing power of a middle class, it increases the economic outcomes. Well, that's part of what the internet and the digital revolution have been doing here in Silicon Valley, and it's part of what I think is so magnificent about the Digital India initiative, because the question is, how do you get all of these people connected and building their path as individuals and as companies to the future? And there's no concern, of course, about having a culture of boldness, because we already see that from the Indian entrepreneurs who come here. And I think that the question about what you can create is essentially empowerment and enablement for everybody. Now, this is no surprise to the Honorable Prime Minister, of course, because deploying such technologies as holograms in order to bring humanity to the people is obviously a move of the future, and something that people in Silicon Valley here would have thought of as well, so it's obviously no surprise. I guess the last thing I would say about entrepreneurship is the key thing for one of the this is the class I'm teaching at Stanford right now, is that the key successes of Silicon Valley is not startups actually, but scale-ups. And it's efforts that come out of India, major companies, major entrepreneurs, a great country that actually, in fact, is part of that information that brings those scale-ups to, that's knowledge of scale-ups here, and then also creates the goodness in the world. And so the thing to think about is not just that creation of startup, but actually how you create companies that are world transforming in terms of their impact. And so with that, thank you, and it's a great honor to be here today.
Thank you, Reed. I think everybody is a little serious, so take a deep breath and let go. This is a fun event. Startups are fun. It is tough, but it's also fun. Following the Prime Minister's clarion call from Red Fort about Startup India and Stand Up India, NASSCOM, the IMA Center for Incubation and Innovation, and TiE Silicon Valley put together the Startup Connect program. Mr. Mohan Reddy briefly talked about it. We've taken, sir, 40 startups from India and from the US and given them an opportunity to meet with investors here in Silicon Valley. And because of that excitement, we're also going to take them to Boston. These startups get a chance to speak to investors, to other entrepreneurs, and also to mentors. To give you a little bit of a background about the innovation and all the good entrepreneurship that is happening in India, we'd like to play a very brief video which has been created to show you the upstarts from India. The next part of the Startup Connect program is a series of memorandums of understanding that organizations in India have put together with organizations here in the US. I would now request the dignitaries to please stand up and witness the exchange of the MOUs between these organizations as I call them one by one. There are 7, and I'm going to go through them each one by one. The first MOU is between the Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms in India, CCAMP, and the California Institute for Quantitative Biosciences to collaborate for Indo-US life sciences and creating innovation hubs. Thank you. The second MOU is with the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and Prakash Lab from Stanford University to collaborate for the development and deployment of products from Prakash Labs. Thank you. The third MOU is with the National Association for Software and Services Companies, NASSCOM, and the Thai Indus entrepreneurs to collaborate the fostering of technology entrepreneurship in India and the Silicon Valley. The fourth MOU is with the IIM Center for Innovation, Incubation, and Entrepreneurship, CIIE, and the Lester Center for Entrepreneurship of the Haas School of Business in University of California, Berkeley. This is for the collaboration to jointly promote technology in entrepreneurship in India. Thank you. The fifth MOU is with the IIM Ahmedabad Center for Innovation, Incubation, and Entrepreneurship, CIIE, and the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator. The Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator and IIM intend to collaborate to promote clean tech entrepreneurship in India. The next MOU is IIM, Center for the Innovation, Incubation, and Entrepreneurship, with Tata Trusts to collaborate and jointly promote tech and impact entrepreneurship in India. Finally, the last one is with the IIM Ahmedabad Center for Innovation, Incubation, and Entrepreneurship with Google to help take technology impact and participate in the Bharat Fund. Thank you. You may now take your seats. So the second part of the Connect program was the exchange of the memorandums of understanding. I would now request the Prime Minister to please, through the click of a button on his left, launch the Bharat Fund IIM Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program for the impact to Indian investors. Sir?
Technology startups have completely revolutionized the lives of India's urban consumers. However, India's masses are still largely untouched by this entrepreneurial movement. This is the real India, the Bharat, comprising 1 billion plus people. Solutions for tens of millions have ended up becoming billion-dollar businesses, and those for Bharat's billions can be worth far more. We need ideas to democratize healthcare. We have to improve agricultural efficiency. We need distributed energy to empower the poor and the industries. technology has the potential to solve most difficult problems and create sustainable growth for Bharat.
स्टार्टअप की दुनिया में भारत नंबर 1 पर पहुंचेगा। आज हम नहीं है। भाइयों बहनों, इस स्टार्टअप को मुझे बढ़ देना और इसलिए मेरा संकल्प है आने वाले दिनों में स्टार्टअप इंडिया और देश के भविष्य के लिए स्टैंड अप इंडिया।
Let's use tech entrepreneurship to make Bharat a golden bird again. We are backed by India's most credible organizations and invite global corporates and investors to join us in creating a new Bharat.
The third part of the Startup Connect program is the Bharat Fund. With support from the Government of India's Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and the Department of Science and Technology, along with Tata Trusts, Bharat Fund is aimed to providing risk capital for the support of the innovative new companies in both the impact sector and the technology sector in India. It is a very focused venture fund and has an ecosystem development effort as well. Bharat Fund aims to catalyze a total of $150 million to support startups in agriculture, energy, and technology. Over the last few days itself, as you had seen from the MOU, companies such as Google, SAP, and others have agreed to collaborate to make Bharat Fund happen. And we look forward to working with others to do the same. I would now request the Pradhan Mantri to please come and make the address.